Ever since Cartoon Network launched in 1992, the cable channel has been filled with original programming and great cartoons like Adventure Time, Johnny Bravo, and Steven Universe. What's better than watching these shows back to back? Seeing them all cross over with each other, of course. Check out some of the best, and most random, Cartoon Network crossovers from over the years. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new ScreenRant content. But before we show you the craziest Cartoon Network crossovers, have you checked out our friends over at Crafty Hackers? They will show you all kinds of DIY tricks, tips, and tutorials. Stay till the end of the video to find out more about their crafts and mind-blowing hacks.
A big blue jay was making noise nearby.
Whoa! On Adventure Time, BMO may be a video game-shaped robot, but he still has dreams. In the episode entitled Catch Up, we get a glimpse into BMO's dreams, and among other things, we see a nice cameo from an infamous Cartoon Network Blue Jay. The character is none other than Mordecai from Regular Show. The cameo crossover is brief, but adds a nice surprising touch to the episode and makes you wonder if BMO has streaming access to other Cartoon Network shows like Regular Show. Over the years, Dexter's Laboratory has done a number of full-fledged crossovers, and one of them was the episode entitled Dino-Mite. The characters from the lesser-known Dino-Mutt, Dog Wonder, appear on the show for an adventure with Dexter. Whether you're familiar with Dino-Mutt or not, the show features a lot of great moments and a nice way to blend a classic cartoon with a more modern creation. When Dino-Mutt gets injured, Dexter decides to add a few upgrades to the super dog, which don't turn out as they had planned. There's no reason for two stupid dogs to appear with a trained samurai, but that's exactly what happens in Samurai Jack. The dogs aren't just dumb, they are actually from the Cartoon Network show Two Stupid Dogs. Both Big Dog and Little Dog quickly appear in the episode, drawing familiarity and connections as Samurai Jack ventures out on his own path and starts a journey through multiple seasons on the network. The quick appearance is a nice touch as multiple writers and animators worked on both shows. When you have a home for imaginary friends, you would think you could come up with all the imaginary Cartoon Network characters you wanted. Well, copyright issues aside, the show did manage to sneak in some fun crossovers over the years. The episode Eddie Monster features all three Eds from Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Along with the Eds, a quick appearance by Dexter is also showcased. The animation styles may be different for all three shows, but they blended nicely to create a memorable animated moment. When the Scooby Gang needed another sleuth to help solve their mysteries, no one imagined it would be Johnny Bravo on the case. One of the first Cartoon Network originals, Johnny Bravo was a hit for the network, and a lot of hype was built around his Scooby-Doo crossover entitled Bravo Dooby-Doo. Johnny joins the Mystery Inc. gang on a haunted adventure where the ghosts, goblins, and masked villains are no match for his coolness factor. Seeing Johnny interact with Shaggy and the gang helped create a lot of classic moments and riff off signature gags from the show. Long before we were ordering pizzas, making calls, and reading texts on our smartwatches, the Jetsons were doing it first. Many of the characters had video-enabled watches, and one gets showcased in the episode, Elroy's Mob. During a classroom scene, one of the students is using his watch to check out clips of cartoons. The show he decided to watch? The Flintstones. The classic show is the polar opposite of the Jetsons, but this quick moment would not be the last time these two shows cross paths. In 2007, Cartoon Network hosted a huge crossover event entitled Cartoon Network Invaded. 5 different Cartoon Network shows crossed over, featuring an alien invasion storyline which helped loosely connect each show. The shows included in the crossover were Camp Lazlo, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, Ed, Edd, and Eddy, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. In the final episode on The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, all of the shows make cameo appearances as they help defeat the alien species. On the Powerpuff Girls, plots often include something going very wrong, and a classic personality swap was the case for the episode entitled Criss Cross Crisis. In the story, the characters end up swapping bodies, creating mass confusion and multiple problems when the Powerpuff Girls are needed for a crisis. During an attempt to switch the characters back, Mrs. Bellum accidentally appears with Dexter's head and body for a few seconds of time. The Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory have long been linked to each other, and seeing these small crossovers really adds to the connection between the shows. Codename Kids Next Door has a unique crossover episode with the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy entitled The Grim Adventures of the Kids Next Door. The episode went all out, featuring a new intro and really showcasing character personalities. The 2007 episode kicks off when Billy calls the kids next door to help with the problem of a pair of ripped pants. The episode quickly developed into a big adventure as all the kids take on the delightful Reaper. The episode is full of great humor and is one of the great crossovers featured on the Cartoon Network. The world of Hanna-Barbera is filled with all sorts of characters, including Huckleberry Hound and Top Cat. While crossovers were common back in the day, it was hard for the Flintstones to meet up with many characters because they were living so far in the past. This certainly didn't stop them from trying, though. In the episode entitled The Time Machine, Fred and his family run into the character known as Officer Dibble. He is a police officer featured in the Top Cat comics and animated series. The crossover is kinda random, but adds a nice connection to the rest of the Hanna-Barbera world. Uncle Grandpa features all kinds of random plots and scenes, including the episode Pizza Eve. The episode essentially acts like a celebration of all things Cartoon Network as Uncle Grandpa hosts an award show called The Grampies. Look closely at all the crowd shots during these scenes to see some of the best Cartoon Network has to offer. There are characters from Steven Universe, Regular Show, Johnny Bravo, Clarence, Adventure Time, the Powerpuff Girls, and Dexter's Laboratory, among others. The great crossover scenes are fun to watch and add a nice touch to the fake award ceremony. Scooby-Doo has never had an issue sharing the small screen with other dogs. Not only did he star on screen with the small and tough Scrappy-Doo, but he had a major crossover event with the heroic dog known as Dino-Mutt. To help introduce Dino-Mutt to the world, there was a special Scooby-Doo and Dino-Mutt hour where the characters would mix as well as star in their own separate cartoons. Even though Scooby-Doo didn't have powers, the food-loving dog lasted far longer than Dino-Mutt ever did. One of the oddest crossovers on Dexter's Laboratory was never really explained in the show. In the episode Dad is Disturbed, we get to see Flintstones characters Barney and Betty Rubble, but not in any type of happy time or moment. When Dexter's dad gets a little nutty over a TV show, he somehow finds Betty Rubble and ties her up in her own kitchen. Barney makes an appearance a little later in the episode, making it seem like the couple traveled through time to live in the modern era. What's better than watching a weasel and a baboon in a cartoon? Seeing them hang out with a cow and chicken. Cartoon Network has always done quirky animal shows, and apparently they saw a lot of similarities between Cow and Chicken and I Am Weasel. The episode IR in Wrong Cartoon features all four characters mixing things together in a humorous fashion. Cow pulls the weasel through the television, and his baboon friend must find a way to get him back from the crazed cow. The Cartoon Network show Evil Con Carne attempted to be a separate show from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, but the show wasn't as successful as the Grim Adventures. This didn't stop the Evil Con Carne creators from going out with a bang, and they did so in the episode Company Halt. The show completely crosses over with the Grim Adventures in that episode, and even though Evil Con Carne ended, many of the same characters stuck around to continue their lives and stories in the Grim Adventures. We Bare Bears is one of Cartoon Network's newest shows, and it features 3 unique bears and a bunch of crazy adventures they go on as friends. During the episode My Clique, the bears stop at a house where a young girl named Chloe sits on the couch and watches TV. If you look closely at the television, you will be able to see a clip from Adventure Time playing on the screen. Though the cameo is short, we can imagine some great scenes if Jake and Finn actually met up with the bears. When the Powerpuff Girls was relaunched in 2016, the style and design looked very similar to Teen Titans Go. The similar designs did not go unnoticed, and the two shows had an epic crossover episode entitled TTG vs PPG. The episode features the signature action and humor from both shows, while also breaking the fourth wall to recognize all the fans watching. This was a great way to introduce the Powerpuff Girls to a whole new generation of young fans who love Teen Titans Go. As both shows continue to air, hopefully we get to see more crossovers between these two groups of heroes. Even in the Stone Age, you have to worry about leaving your picnic basket left out in the open. This is exactly what happens when the Flintstones has a crossover episode with the famed Yogi Bear. As Fred and Wilma try to enjoy a picnic at the park, a large tree falls. We quickly pan up to reveal Yogi and Boo Boo scouting out the delicious basket Fred has prepared. How did Yogi travel so far back in time? It's never really explained, but the funny gag is worth the great crossover anyways. Lasting for 4 seasons on the Cartoon Network, My Gym Partner's a Monkey featured the zany adventures of a young boy and his monkey as they both attend an all-animal school. For the series finale, A Whole Zoo World, there was a nice cameo tossed in featuring another Cartoon Network show. During the scene where Adam gets put into a mold-making machine, his body is briefly designed into the form of Rodney. For those unaware, Rodney is the main character from another short-lived Cartoon Network series entitled Squirrel Boy. Johnny Bravo's family tree consists of cool dudes with great hair and nice sunglasses. At least this is the premise of the special A Page Right Out of History. The episode flashes back to Johnny's ancestors in the Stone Age and features a great relative of Johnny mingling among the Flintstones. Of course, things get screwed up pretty badly when Fred and Johnny are mixed together, but it all works out in the end. Oddly enough, Johnny's modern style and way of talking is just a natural part of the Stone Age, and no one really questions his sunglasses either. When you have two shows about a young boy with the ability to transform and summon all types of creatures, they are bound to cross over eventually. This is exactly what Cartoon Network did with Ben 10 and Generator Rex. Their special was entitled Heroes United, and the characters literally unite into each other to create the ultimate hero. They don't get along at first, but quickly put their differences aside to do battle against evil forces and present kids with the ultimate action-adventure crossover TV special. Through the years, the TV show Chowder has often featured small cameos and references to the Powerpuff Girls. One of the characters makes a big appearance in the episode Hot Date. Miss Bellum shows up for a date and claims she was late because her town was being attacked by a monster. In true form, her face is never shown, but you do see her signature red hair hanging down into the frame. In another episode entitled The Heist, Bubbles makes an appearance in the form of a giant head. Kicking off the crossover trend to begin with was perhaps one of the greatest crossovers of all time, as the Jetsons met the Flintstones in a feature-length movie. Characters from both worlds go back and forth as they discover the future and the past. Children growing up watching these two shows enjoyed seeing the iconic characters interact on screen together. The made-for-television movie was first released in 1987 and features the Jetsons as they have a mishap with a time machine and end up in the Stone Age. It led to several other crossover movies, including Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers. With a show like Steven Universe, it's often hard to plan any crossovers due to the expanded storyline and important plot points represented in each episode. Thankfully, Steven Universe did get a chance to cross over by introducing a non-canon episode mixed with the characters of Uncle Grandpa. Seeing Steven and the other characters interact with Uncle Grandpa was a treat and does leave the door open in the future for some more crossover possibilities. The story presents Uncle Grandpa as a long-lost relative of Steven and was created as an April Fool's joke.
Don't worry, bro. None of this is canon.
And now that you've seen the creative crossovers on Cartoon Network, check out how creative Crafty Hackers are. If you like crafts and DIY, you should definitely check them out. They have this awesome video about how you could turn everyday objects into parts of a superhero costume. If you're a fan of all things crafts and pop culture, they have some tutorials you absolutely cannot miss. Make sure you check them out, leave them a like, and let them know that ScreenRant sent you. Click the button in the corner to watch. And now we want to know which crossover was the best. Were there any that we missed? And which Cartoon Network shows do you want to see crossover? Let us know in the comments section below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to ScreenRant so you can stay up to date with all of our awesome content. Thanks for watching!